Hello everyone, welcome to Mifratech. So today in this section I'm going to explain you heart disease prediction project. So in this project mainly we are going to predict whether the person has the heart disease or not based on different machine learning techniques and algorithm, like how to run the project and what is the kind of output you will get in this project, and what are all the different data set, like what data set we used, what are the different algorithm used, how we trained, all those backend code and all things I have explained in the previous section. So in this section I'm going to explain you the front end code, like what and all the HTML code we have written, and what is the Python code we written for the front end. All those things I'm going to explain in this section. First we'll go to the backend code, like project folder in which are the files related to front end code. I'm going to show you first. So this is the project folder, that is hard disease prediction. So in this, the first folder is static, where background images will add for the web pages of the front end should be kept inside the static folder. Next we have template folder. So inside this one, the HTML code required for a login page, register page and prediction page, and the same image which will add kept in the static folder should be kept in this folder. So next thing is app underscore SQL. So this is the exact Python file, the front end is written inside this app underscore SQL, and ddbb SQL file used for registration and login process. So these are the four files related to front end code. So now I will explain the front end code, that is app underscore SQL. Just right click on this, edit with 3.6. So now, so the first step in the program is we need to import different packages which you are using in the program. So first import numpy as np. So this line will import numpy and store as a alias name np. So why in the front end code also we are using numpy means, in case you are using any like n-dimensional array or using any mathematical functions in the front end code also, we need this numpy, so I'm importing. Next thing is import pandas as pd. So here I'm importing pandas library. So if I converting anything into data frame means we required pandas library, so only I'm importing that one. So next in the here we mainly in the front end code, registration, login, all those things, how it is going to work, all those things we need to write in the Python program. So here for that registration login we need to fetch the data from the database, as well as we have to update username and register to the database. So in order to do that one, some techniques I need in order to fetch the data, in order to insert the data. So all those techniques available in PyMySQL, that I'm going to import now. So import PyMySQL, MySQL install as like install underscore as mysqldb, import mysqldb, help us to do that process. So next, initially itself, in order to store username and password, I'm going to create some empty list now, so that I will use in the later section of the program. So gmail underscore list, open and close the braces is nothing but an empty list I have created. Next, password underscore list, open and close square braces, an empty list like the gmail list one, password list one. These are the four empty lists I have created, I will use in the later section of the form. Gmail list I will use for store the username, password list I will use in order to show the password from the database. So next, mainly our front end is like done with the help of the Flask, that is web frame application, Python web frame application. So now I'm going to import different things from the Flask. So here what are all the different packages using, how to install them in the command prompt, I have explained in the backend code itself. So just now I'm importing them. So from a Flask, import Flask request json render template. So next, here in the backend code, whichever the algorithm gave the more accuracy, that is random forest gave nearly accuracy of 92%, that I converted into pickle model binary format, so that I can load in the back front end code. So now I'm going to load it. So import joblib, with the help of joblib only I will load that one. So joblib.load, the name of the file is harddisease.pkl. So now it will load the file. I will store this algorithm in a variable model. So now the algorithm which gave the more accuracy are directly loaded and stored in a variable model too. This I will use in the last of the program in order to predict the output. So that will be available in model variable. So now the Flask is like an app. We have to initialize using certain syntaxes. So now I will initialize the Flask. App is equal to Flask of underscore name underscore. So this line will initialize your Flask. So next thing is, so now I will run this program. So run module F5. So when you run this one, an HTTP link will be generated. See here, when an HTTP link is generated, what we will do means we'll paste, like copy this link starting from it. After 5000 there is a slash. After this much, we'll copy and go to the default browser where my localhost database has been opened. So just open a new tab and paste. The link will be pasted. After that, when you click on enter, the first page where you will go, it is a registration page. So how exactly it is going to registration page means, so that I am going to explain now. So here at app.root of, so after 5000 there's a slash, so whenever there's a slash come, what I'm doing is return render template register.html. so whenever copy that link, after 5000 there's a slash, when you enter it will directly to load the registration page html code. So that is how it is happening here. So at app.root of slash return render template of register.html, for registration page an html code have written that I shown already in the template folder. That html code will be executed or loaded there. So that's why you are getting a registration page here. So now I will explain how this html code what I have written inside this registration page. So you can observe what and all there is in this registration page html code. There is a background image and there is a heading called register, and should be like we have to style them like according to board color white, we have to board them white color size, those things. Next there's a form where you can enter username and password is there. In order to submit data, there's a submit button called register is there. Then there's a hyperlink login button is there. So when you click on this, it will direct to take you to login page. So these are the different things is there in the registration page html code. So now I will explain that. So go to the project folder, so go to templates folder. Inside this one, the page is register is the html code. Just click on, I will open in the notepad itself. So open with notepad. So this is the registration page html code. So now I'm going to explain it. So first, a doc type html, html.head, these are the different like default tags in the html we have to use. Next, if you want to do anything styling in the page, means all those styling related should be enclosed within the style tag. So now I'm opening the style tag. So first, background image. So body background image which I'm adding should be kept in static and template folder. I told all you already. So file name, it is present in template folder. So the name of the image is hard4, and with the extension jpg we have to give. So from the template folder, this is the image I am adding for the registration page, that is hard4, it is extension jpg, that should be written there. Next, for the background image, what I am writing is background repeat should not be repeat. Background size, height and width I am keeping 100% only. Next, background position should be center. Background size, you should cover the whole page. So I am covering writing. So this is for the styling of the background image. Next, there is an hyperlink, you can see it is in white color, it is center, and there is a box called background red color is there, for that height width is there. So those things if you want to like style means that I'm going to show. So A is related to hyperlink. So link is active that way visited. Background color I'm adding. Padding is nothing but height and width of the red color box there. 15 px and 25 px. Next, color is white. The text should be aligned center. Display inline block. Display is inline block means it will display like properly aligned. So next, the background color I'm giving red here. So now I will close the style tag. So this much is the style related to both background image and there is a hyperlink here. Next thing is here we have to write next the heading here, whatever the heading you see, register that one. So for that, uh, first whatever the background image you will add, that should be kept here also. If you want to change this, file name art4, extension is jpg. So next, a division class I will open. So now header, so whatever the heading you are seeing, it is written inside the tag h1 there. So h1 is the header tag. The name I'm giving here register. For that, B I'm doing is nothing but bolding, B tag. Next, font style I have to do. So font style color I'm giving white. Font family, the style of the family I'm giving Vardhana. Size, the size of that one heading register is 5 I'm giving. Finally, I will close all the tags. So next, here you can see there is a gap is there. So in order to give this much of space, I will use one more tag, that is BR. That is nothing but a line break. So next we have a form here. So now I will create one form. So come to here. So form action I'm creating. So URL for register. So what this URL for register means, whatever the username and password you will enter in this registration form. So I should collect it somewhere in the code. So in which method I will collect all data in this, there is a register method in the front end code Python file. In that method I'm going to collect all the data register. So where that method means, come to app underscore sq. So here you can see there is a register method is there. So inside this method only I will collect all the data whatever you enter in the registration page html code. So now next, what is there again, a username and password. So input type text. So placeholder, so here whatever the username you are seeing, we'll call it as placeholder. So at that place what I am writing is username, that is whatever you write here that will be reflected in the front end page. So finally line break I am giving. Next is input type password. So one more is password. If you are not entering any password means by default value stored will be fake psw. So in the placeholder I will write password. Finally I will store like close everything. br line break I'm giving. Next I should submit the data. So a submit button I should create. So button type a submit. For that there is a different class of buttons is there. This is the type of button I'm using. The name of the button register. Here you have to write. Finally I will close all the tag. A line break I will give. I'll finally close the form. So that much is there in this HTML code. Next we have to create an HTML. One more thing is when you try to register, when you click on register, it will show you this user is already new successfully registered message. So in order to display this data, we have to create some flower braces there. So where the text will be exactly displayed means observe here after line break there is a flower base inside this text. So at this place of text only that data is displaying. From where means for this at the place of text we stored the data in the like Python code. Here at the place of text we stored this name is already in use, and at the place of text only we have also stored successfully registered. Whenever such condition is true, that data will be displayed in the front end there. So next we have hyperlink. So for this text whatever displaying, for that bolding I'm doing, font family, color, size I'm giving, finally line break, finally a hyperlink. So a href hyperlink I'm creating. So whenever you click on this hyperlink, how again like how exactly it is going to login page. Now you should execute or load the login page HTML code. So how it is doing means when you click on this hyperlink, what I'm doing is there's a slash in login method in the backend code that is running. So how where that slash login means when you come down here, see here, there's a slash login method is there. So what this is doing is return render template of login page HTML. So login page HTML code it will load when you click on that login page. So that is why you are getting directly going to login page there. So next for that the name of the method that whatever the text you are seeing login, where you can write means here whatever you will write here that will be displayed there. Finally I will close everything. Some line break I am giving just to analyze align everything properly. So that much is there in the registration page HTML code. So now I will close this one. We'll go to background code line. Now I will explain the Python code how exactly registration will work. So like I told, whatever you enter in the registration page is like form, I will collect inside the register method. So now I will collect. How to collect means request.form.value. So this line will help us to collect all the data from the registration page form. So I will store in the temporary variable x. I want to store it in the string format. So str of x. Finally all are kept inside a square braces, nothing but all are stored in the form of a list. So the name of the list I will go int features 2. So now first thing what you enter is username, next password. So username is at the index 0, password is at the index 1. So int features of index 0, that is I will store in r1 username, I will print r1. Next int features 2 of 1, that is password, I will store in r2, print r2. Again int features 2 of 0, I will store in log u1, password is at the index 1. So int features of 1 I will store in fastw1. So now I have to connect my database. So how to connect the database means import mysqldb, mysqldb.connect. I'm connecting my localhost, username is root, password I'm not giving anything. The name of the database is ddbb. So finally it will connect my database. I will store it in a variable db. So if you want to fetch anything data like any data from the database means you have to create one cursor method. So db.cursor of, I'm creating a cursor method. I will store it in a variable cursor. Now I will execute an SQL query. So select cursor.execute of, select user from user register. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting, see here in the database, in go to database, just observe here. So what query I'm executing is I'm selecting user from user register. So see here in the database there is a user column. So this column I'm selecting from my user register table in the ddbb database. So that is what I'm doing. After selecting, I'll fetch all the information present, that all the username present in the user column in the database. So how to fetch all the data at once means cursor.fetch all will fetch all the data from that user column in the data user register. Next I will store it in a result one. Now I will access them one by one using the for loop. I will add them to some empty list. So for row 1 result 1 will fetch all the username one by one. Finally I will add to some empty list. So gmail list 1, an empty list I'm adding. Gmail list 1 dot append will help us to add the data in a string format. Str of row 1 of 0 I will add. So my all username from the database now available inside a list gmail list 1. So now if some username is already is there in the result like in the database, if you are using the same username to register means there is no point in like storing the same username twice. So what I will do means if the username is already there in the database means I will show if the user try to log in with the same username, I will show him like username is already in use. So how to show it exactly means here this username Kiran is already in use. So now when I enter same username and try to register, it is showing this user is already in use. How it is happening means see here, if a log you, so whatever username you enter in the login like registration page, I stored in a variable log you1. Now I am checking if that log you, that username in Gmail is, so if the particular username is present in the Gmail list, nothing but all the username available inside Gmail list, that I'm checking is nothing but I'm checking the particular username in the database. So in case the username is there in the database means what I will do means in the return render template register.html in the registration page or the place of text, what I will write means this user is in already in use. So this message will be displayed whenever you use the same username in order to register which is already there in the database. So that's why you are getting this message. So in case, so it is over if the condition is false, so that is nothing but the username is not there in the database means that username and password should be inserted into the database. So how to insert means in the else part I will write else SQL query I have to write, that is insert into user register. So I'm inserting some data. What data means user and password data values, both are percentages, that is nothing but string values I'm updating here. So value where it will be present is value of r1 comma r2, both are present in variable r1 r2. Finally to update the data in the try block I will accept like do cursor dot execute of SQL comma value, it will update the data. Finally db dot commit db dot rollback db dot close. So finally my username and password will be updated into my database. So finally I will show some message for the user for the confirmation. So return render template in the registration place, the place of text now successfully registered message will be displayed. So this is how exactly the registration is happening there. So now I'll enter some username which is not there in the list. See here, now we'll enter some username which is not there in the database. So after that I will try to register after entering username and password. So now when I click on register, see here, successfully registered your method like message you are getting. Again the same data which now just entered, it will be updated automatically. So just refresh this page. So after refreshing you will get that some username and password will be inserted successfully. See here, whatever the username and password just now entered, it is updated here. So this is how exactly the registration is working. Now I should explain the login part. So when you click on login button, it will direct to take you to login page. So now I will explain the login page HTML code. See here what is there. There is a background image and a heading is login, user a form where you can enter username and password, and there is a login button. This much is there in the login page HTML code. So how exactly going to login page? I thought when you click on login button, slash login method will be executed. So it will return the render template login page HTML code will be generated. Now where that code means inside the template folder, the login is the name of the HTML code. Now I'll open in notepad. So observe here what is there. There is no much difference when compared to registration and login page. Only background image is changed, and there are instead of register now the heading is login. That is the slight modification. So I will not explain much this HTML code. Just the same background image is there. Again here uh, the sorry background image is different now. See here, now the background image is hard, not for hard 7 extension is jpg. Here also hard 7 jpg. What is that image means? Inside the folder you can see hard 7, there is one more jpg image is there. That's why you are getting a different background image in the login page here when compared to the registration page. So that's how you have to change the background image. Next is heading. So h1 now it is not registered, it is login. For that color white family vardhana size I'm giving bolding, that's it. Next form. So in the form whatever you enter in the login page I should collect somewhere in the backend code. So where I can collect means the method is url for logged in. So the name of the method is logged in. Inside that in the backend code python code I will collect all the data. So where that logged in method means when you come to app underscore sql, here there's a method name called logged in is there. Inside this method only I will collect all the username and password you enter in the login page. So now inside the form same input type text, placeholder username, password default value fxw, and the placeholder also password I'm writing. Finally a submit button, the name of this is the class of the button. Inside now what is change means instead of register the name of the button is now login, that's it. So I will close the form. Finally, you enter some username and password in order to log in. So if the username and password is not matching means you will get some message here. So what message you will get means, see here, when you click on login, see here you will get a message, use proper username and password. When this is when means when username and password will not matching. So this line is displaying at the which place it is displaying the data means at text, at the place of text it will display the data. So for that, color white, family, size I am giving. Finally I will close this much. So this much things is there in the login page HTML code. So where I'm storing at the place of text means in the background code, when you come here, see here, at the place of text I'm storing use proper username and password. That is what displaying it there. So next I'll close this HTML code. So now come to backend code. Will that Python code. Here I will explain how login will work. So I told whatever you enter in this login page code, I will collect in which method means logged in method. So we'll go to logged in method. So same how I collect in registration for same way I will collect request.form values temporary variable x in the string format I will store finally in a list. So now first data you will enter username. So int features of index 0 username is there, I will store in login. Next int features of index 1 password is there, I will store in passw. I will connect my database, import mysqldb. So mysqldb connect localhost root username password not writing anything empty ddbb database. Finally I will store in variable db. I will create one cursor method. So db.cursor of I will store in a variable cursor. So now I have to execute a SQL query. So cursor.execute of select user from user ratio. So now I am fetching user uh, column data from the database. I will fetch all the data finally using for loop fetch one by one, and I will store in a variable that one new list, that is Gmail list. So in this list all the username will be present. In the same way I for login I want password also. So one more cursor object I will create. So db.cursor of the name of the cursor method cursor1 I am giving. So cursor1 dot execute select password from user register. So now what which query I am executing is select password from user register. What is that mean? Inside the database there is a column called password. So I'm selecting this password column from a user register table from ddbb database. So that is what I'm doing there. So after selecting cursor1 dot fetch all will fetch all the data from password column, store in a variable result2. Using for loop I will fetch all the password one by one, and I will store in one more empty list, that is password list. So my username is present in Gmail list, passwords are present in password list. So which logic I will use for the login purpose means, so now in the database you can observe the respective username and password is present at the same row, is nothing but when I store username and password in some list, in the same row it is present means at the same index it will be present at the list also. So that is what the exact technique I will use now. So if of Gmail list, so in the username list index value I am fetching, for which value, which index value I want means login log you. So what is log you means whatever the username just now you enter in the login page I collect stored in a variable log you. Now I am checking whatever username you enter in the login page it is present in the database at that index value I am fetching. If that index value is equal to whatever the password you enter in the login page, that password index value, if both index value matching is nothing but he enter the correct username and password. So in that case what should happen means he should go to prediction page. So return render template of index.html I am writing. So index.html is nothing but my prediction page HTML code. In case if his username and password is not matching means in the else part what I will do means return random template. In the login page I will display one message that is use proper username and password. So that is why you are getting this message. So now I will enter correct username and password. Now observe what will happen. So now I have entered the correct username and password. When I click on login it will take you to login that's prediction page, that is the index.html code. So here you have come to prediction page. So this is how exactly login is happening in the Python code here. So now I will explain how prediction will work. So as I told, when you click on when you enter correct username and password, prediction page HTML code will be generated and you are getting the prediction page. This HTML code I will explain. See what is the difference means here when compared to login and HTML code. Here the background image like the registration page heading is hard disk prediction, and there are some like form where you can enter all the data. In order to predict the output there is a button and you will get the output here. So here whatever the input the string you are getting these things we'll call it as label. So that is what the extra thing is, this HTML code. So now I will explain that one. Go to the template folder. The name of the prediction page HTML code is index. Open with notepad. So here I will explain this one. So first doc type HTML default things, background image is hard4.jpg now. and for that label have to background image 100%, those things I've already explained. Now label after, so after every label there is a colon you are seeing. So by default to add these things doing this styling. So label after label a content colon should be added. So for that label color white, font bold, display should be label should be aligned properly. Width I am giving 500 pixels. So what is this means, whatever this whole thing up to here will call it as width. So that width I am giving 500. So in order to align them properly, text align should be center. Font size I am giving, if you want to increase this font size of these labels means you can increase their font size 150% I have given. So finally this button, whatever the predict button is there, this also you can modify. So this width I am increasing now. So form of button, form button of type submit, display in block, align properly, width I am giving 100 px, you can change the width. Finally I will close the tag. So the name as the image hardford.jpg only same. Next the division class I'm opening, the heading is now hard disease prediction in the h1 tag. For that color white, font family, size I'm giving. Finally line break, a form now I'm creating. So whatever you enter inside the prediction page, I should collect it in the somewhere in the Python code in the backend. So where I can collect it, in which method means URL bar predict. So inside the predict method I will collect all the data, whatever the input data we enter in the prediction page HTML code. So where that method is present means when you come down here there is the predict method. So inside this method only all the input data I will collect. So now what is there next, label. So label for age, input type text, I'm placeholder, nothing I'm writing. So this is label what I have created. I'm going to create all these label for all these input. So there are some 12 inputs there, 13 input. So all 13 labels I have created. Finally I will give a line break. Finally button I should add. So center tag, what it will means, it will align everything to center. Button type is submit, the name of the button I'm giving predict here. Finally I will close the form. So that much there in the form. So this is the name of the predict. So when you enter some inputs here, so after entering some input it will display output. So how exactly it is displaying that data output means, see here now I'm entering randomly some data. So after entering all the input data, so when you click on predict, what it will show means the output it is showing the person has the heart disease. So why, how exactly it is printing this data in output means, so a prediction text flow braces variable I have created. So here what will happen means, so here what is happening means, here at the place of prediction date, that output will be stored in the backend code in the Python codes. Here at the place of prediction text I am storing the person has the heart disease, the person not have the heart disease, both will be stored. Whenever the condition, which condition is true, only that data will be displayed. For that color I am giving white, I am bolding that one, family Vardhana, size I am giving 6. Finally I will close everything. So a all tag will be closed. So this much is there in the HTML code of this index, that is prediction page. So now I will close this one. So now how exactly the prediction will work, I'm going to explain now. So I told you already, whatever the data you will enter in the prediction page, all are available. I will collect in the predict method in the Python code. So now I will collect them. So request.form.values I will store in temporary variable x. Finally in the string format I'm collecting and storing inside a list. So the name of the list is int features. So now I will store this list to one more variable a now. So now first data what you will enter is in the whichever the way you will enter the data, in the same way I will collect. So age at the index 0, the sex male or female is at the index 1, chest pain type at the index 2, like that the index value will be there. Now I will collect them. So so whatever data, all the data whatever enter, I will collect them in the integer format. So age of int of a of 0, so at the index 0 age will be there in the integer format I want. So I will collect. So how, in whichever the format is there in the data set, integer or float, that format only I will collect all the data. Next step, chest pain, tref. So all the 13 input data I have collected, which all are most of them in integer format. In that word pick only I want in float, so I'm collecting in a float format. So finally after collecting all the 13 input columns starting from like 0 to 12, I will say collect, store them in the format of a list. So df of I want in such a format, like first is age, cp, however I trained the algorithm in that way only I'm collecting, storing all the input data. So now I stored in the variable df. So here now whatever df is there, it is a list. So now I want to convert into certain format so that my algorithm should accept directly. So I'm printing the data. So when you print the data, all the input data whatever you enter, which will be available inside like this list format. So now I will convert into array. So np dot array of will convert anything into array. Now I am converting this list into array. I will reshape it. So reshape of 1 comma minus 1. Finally, after reshaping, now I should predict the output. So my final output is available in mirror df. So all the data which you enter in the front end, I collected in the correct format. I reshaped it. Now I should give to algorithm. So initially my final algorithm random forest gives a 92% accuracy, converted into pickle model. I loaded back in the front end code, stored in the variable model 1. So now I will use this one in order to predict the output now. So model dot predict of this input df I am giving. Finally, it will predict the output. I will store in prediction. The output in the list format I want in integer. So I will convert this prediction into list into integer. So int of prediction will convert into integer. Finally, when I print prediction, it will be either 1 or 0. See here, for that data it is printed 1. So whenever it is 1 or 0, I should display some information in the front end. So I will check the condition. If of the prediction is equal to 1, if the predicted output is 1 means what I will display means return render template at the prediction page index.html. I am displaying at the place of prediction tag the person has the RDCs. If the prediction value is 1 means I will display the person has the RDCs. In case else, if the prediction value is not 1 means it is 0. So in case it is 0 means I will display return render template at the index page, that is prediction page. I will display the person not have the RDCs. So this is how you are getting the output there exactly. So finally, the Flask is like an app. I told how it is initialized. We have to generate HTTP link. We have to use certain syntaxes. So if of underscore name is equal to underscore main means I'm going to do app dot run of debug is equal to false. This will automatically generate that HTTP link. So this is what the front end code have written for this heart disease prediction projects. So I have explained everything clearly. So now finally for the last time we'll enter some input data and we'll see the output now. So we'll enter some of the input data now. So after entering all the input data, so when you click on predict, based on input data whatever enter, it is showing the person not have the heart disease. This is the one type of output you will get. We'll check for the another type of output. So when you click on predict, see here, again the person not have the heart disease, only you are getting the output. We'll try to enter some other input data now. So when you click on predict, see here whatever getting the output, the person has the heart disease. So the person has the heart disease, the person not have the heart disease. These are the two different output you will get in this heart disease prediction project as a final output here. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you.